Okay, so real quick, let's look at the plan. The plan is, here's an engine, right? And here is the pod. Okay, looks a little better now that the finish has sort of settled down. But so you'll notice there's a hole here and a hole right here, and that's intentional. And I plan on drilling a hole right there in the same way, but that's to connect the two engines. To connect the pod to the engines, those holes are going to serve as connectors. So this will go in here where it gets glued in, and then this one, the other end, will go right in that hole there. If I can get it, there we go. And there you go. There's your pod racer. I think those are a bit far off. Yeah, I might have to shorten those a little bit, but that's how they're going to connect. Probably have to shorten it to about right here, I think. I think that'd be a good distance. Anywho, so I'm gonna look at this. Beefy little guy. It's gonna be blue with some accents. Same thing with these. Primarily blue. Not gonna beat them up too much. A little bit of sand and dust. And then we'll start working on that pilot soon enough. All right, so there's your little mini update on that. All right, so we're gonna airbrush this guy. You can probably hear there's a lot of noise. I got the compressor going, I've got my fan going, I've got this thing going. So what I do is I just turn on my compressor. I'm waiting for it to get up to pressure. Let's see. But you know, it's actually not that loud for an air compressor. Pretty quiet. I got this one from what was it again? Airbrush. I forget what the name of the company was. I'll probably remember in a minute. I'll post it in the video later, but looks like it's up to pressure. So we're gonna go ahead and start mixing. I think I'm just gonna put some gray primer on it first. Let's see, is that the gray? Yeah, that's the gray. And we'll go from there. All right. All right. So I'm looking for something to kind of keep this propped up so I can get it from all angles and rotate it around while I'm airbrushing it. So I'm going to use the same thing, but what I'm going to do, since it's got kind of a really small little hole in there, I'm going to take this and I'm going to wedge this, move this up over here. I'm going to wedge this cork into this little section here. And then I'm going to take some floral wire and put it through this hole, and it'll pin it up through that. So first I'm going to cut this open. Let's say right about here. I say cut it open, but I really just meant cut a piece off. Alright. There we go. Looks like that'll probably work. I'll just wedge that in there. And then we're just going to get a little piece of this. Should be good. Okay. See if it works. I thought that hole went all the way through. Maybe I was wrong. Doesn't. Oh, that's right. Well, probably. I'll probably just get it right about here. Yeah, that should be good enough. All right. Okay, so what you didn't see me do is before I put it up here, I got this brush and I took all the little specks of dust off I thought might create a problem for me. Let's do a quick test spray. Looks good. I think that's looking pretty smooth. Let's move on to the color. Okay, so for this one, my nephew picked the colors, and he likes blue, so I'm going to start with a little phthalo blue. It's kind of a nice deep dark blue. Pretty good. And we'll see how this takes. Before I do any spraying though, I'm just going to do a quick test. Looks pretty good. Yeah, it's a nice rich blue. Alright. And for now I'm just going to hit the top, rotate it around. Pretty deep blue. It's a pretty thick paint. I've thinned it out a little bit with some airbrush thinner, but it's a very deep blue. You get a lot of instant coverage. And we'll tone that color down a little bit with some highlights later. Put too much foil cover in there. Let's see. Okay. I'm not putting a ton of blue on it because some of these parts are going to be different color, but for now this is fine. I'm just kind of getting some blue coverage in there. Uh-oh. Not any spatters. Okay, time for the main pod. I think that's good enough for a base coat. Okay, so I'm using this Vallejo color, turquoise, as just some light passes. It's kind of a highlight color, kind of brighten it up a little bit. It's a big difference between that and the blue. So should look all right. See what it looks like too. The Vallejo is pretty thick, so I had to thin it down quite a bit, but we'll see how it looks. And for this one, I'm just going to hold it. Probably good enough. That's good. All right, so I just took a nice little wooden plaque that I actually got off of Amazon pretty cheap. I'll put the link below. I'm not an affiliate or anything fancy like that, but I thought it was a pretty good price for a good size like this. I think it's about a 9 by 12. And it really fit perfect for what I needed it for. I think it's going to be just about the perfect size for this little project. But right now, I'll probably go back and restain it. It wasn't this color before. I didn't really have any stain I could use other than an old ebony stain, and I just put a light coat on it. And you can see there's areas it didn't really quite take. But I'll probably go back over it after I'm done, maybe with an airbrush or some paint or something. I don't know. It didn't really hold too well. But it dried for like 2 days, so I don't know. We'll see. But right now, I am just going to put some sand on it, which is kind of my little mix of coffee grounds and salt. And I'm just going to mix it with a little bit of wood glue, you know, nothing fancy. I'm going to put some aside so I can, maybe some more salt. I feel like you can never have too much salt. Yay. I mean, for me, salt just means, I mean, it's to me, it's perfect for sand. It's basically like sand. But yeah, these are just old coffee grounds and some salt. And I would never waste good coffee, so these are obviously used coffee grounds. And I'm just going to mix a little wood glue in there and just paste it on. I'm going to mix it up probably a little bit better. I like to get a nice mixture. Okay, so made some more progress. I dusted these up with the airbrush to give them a little bit of that used dustiness, because that's a term. Yeah, you know, to kind of match the terrain I put together here. This was the base. I just kind of took that salt and coffee grounds, and I ended up not using the first batch because it turned into like basically a bunch of clay-like dough, dough-like clay, don't know. And just did it the old-fashioned way, painted some wood glue down and sprinkled it, and primered it black, airbrushed it with a dark brown, then airbrushed it, and sorry I didn't put that on video, maybe next time. Just kind of in a rush with this to get it done before the weekend so that I can give it to my nephew. Build some rocks. These are made of pink foam, and just wanted to give it some extra space for this thing to rest on. For the pod and the engines to be sort of off the ground a little bit, so they've got that sort of hovery look. I mean, they kind of do now, but really not. They're just sitting flat on stuff. I'd like them to be a little taller. I've got these cocktail toothpicks. They're made of acrylic, so I'm gonna use those. And the way that works is, I can set this here for a second. We just kind of take this right here, and there's some pre-drilled holes I made here on both the engines and the right there. So, ta-da! And I'm not going to have them quite this tall. They'll be a lot shorter, of course. But yeah, that should keep them pretty sturdy and still give that effect. I'm guessing probably, you know, down low like this. No more than maybe an inch. And I'll wedge that into the wood Just drill some holes, but I got to cable it up first. So I'm going to do that, dress the cables. Once I've got them cabled in, and I kind of have an idea where I want this, then at that point I'll also be putting in the arc, the electrical arc. I'm going to use the really small gauge brass wire for that. Is it brass? This one might be copper. I think this one's brass. So I'm going to take some of this thin wire and bend a few pieces of it into kind of, you know, electrifying shapes in between the engines. And I've got some little areas in the engine that are kind of pre-drilled also. Somewhere, where are they? Thought they were. Somewhere around here. I want to say somewhere in this little panel, but either the paint covered it or I forgot. Oh no, here's one. So maybe I just forgot to drill it on the other one. Alright, so something else to do. Alright, I'll get back to it in a minute.